Okay, I just want to create a video where I can just sit down. I'm going to try to minimize edits and cuts, and I don't want to overlay stuff. If you've been watching my channel, you probably have seen some of the added things that I've put into videos, but I just want to have like a one-on-one with you and just talk about some of the news that's coming out for the month of December in 2024, because we're seeing an announcement from the Bank of Canada with the rate cuts. We also see mortgage rule changes taking effect for December. And I want to talk about what this could potentially mean for the Welland real estate market. My name is Manny DeSilva. I'm a realtor with Remax Niagara, and I serve the entire Niagara region, but this channel is dedicated to the city of Welland. If you're interested in other areas in the Niagara region, I have my other YouTube channels that are linked in the description below. So let's talk about the interest rate, the interest rate change, the interest rate cut. I want to preface this by saying that the Bank of Canada is not cutting interest rates, and that way can make, homes more affordable. They have two mandates here. One is to tackle inflation, and the other is to tackle unemployment numbers. So they feel pretty confident that they were able to get inflation under wraps. And we're not going to go back to normal prices, but prices climbing at an accelerated rate that we've seen beforehand. Those days are pretty much behind us. But they're going to be taking a look at jobs now. They're pointing their attention towards the unemployment, because we saw just before the announcement, the unemployment numbers are at 6.8%. So they went from 6.4 to 6.8. That's not good. Canada's economy is not doing very well. They had an announcement where there was 50,000 jobs that were added, but then it turned out that 90% of those jobs were in the public sector. So the only tool that the Bank of Canada has is to use interest rates to dial things in, and hopefully it can get the Canadian economy a bit of a leg up. So we are going to see a continue trend of rate cuts going into 2025. And for every half a point that the rate is cut by, translates typically to a 3 to 5% increase in home prices in the Niagara region. Okay. When we take a look at the consecutive rates that they've been cutting, so since June they've cut rates 5 times. So they went from quarter point, then half point in October, and now half point in December. I have to say, since October, I have been getting busier. People are getting serious about these interest rates. They want to get ahead of the rising cost of homes. We don't marry the rate, we date the rate, we marry the price of the home. That's what we do as Canadians. So people want to get ahead of that, especially going into that spring market in March and April. That's when things really start to light up in the Niagara region. And I feel that now with this rate cut and the addition of the mortgage rule changes, I should say, that's going to really bring people off the sidelines and get them to participate in the real estate market and try to get ahead of that curve. What are the mortgage rule changes, right? Maybe some of you have heard about them. Let's talk about them. So basically, there's two parts to it mainly. One is the availability of a 30-year mortgage, and by stretching it out that extra 5 years, you're going to have a lower monthly payment, but the overall cost of your mortgage is going to increase. And this is something that you might want to talk with your mortgage broker or mortgage agent or what have, and ask them like, hey, do you have any offerings where I can make additional payments if I go with a 30-year? Does the additional payment go 100% to principal? Are there any penalties towards that? And if I do that, can I cut down on the time that I'll be mortgaging? These are things that you might want to consider talking with them about. And by the way, if you don't have someone, I have a few that I can suggest to you, and then you can call them, interview them, and see which one fits you the best. You're more than welcome. Just let me know, and I'll be able to pass their information on to you. All right. So 30-year, lower monthly payment. We have lower interest rates on the variable side, not on the fixed. Lower. We're going to get sub 4% going into 2025 on the variable rate side. That's another thing that you might want to talk to your mortgage broker or mortgage agent about, which is, hey, if I were to go to variable and then eventually switch over to fixed, if it becomes lower than variable, is there penalties associated with that? Is it easier to do it that way or the other way, going from fixed to variable? That's something that we want to talk with them about. So we have these two things. Sorry, I should say that also, in addition to the increase timeline, we also have an increase insurable amount. And I feel like people talk about that or mention it, but they don't really talk about what that means. So you have two different types of mortgages. You have the fixed and the variable, and within each you have three different tiers. You have the insured, the insurable, and the uninsurable. And basically what that means is the insured is if you have less than 20%, and the overall value, I think the overall value is below the new $1.5 million, then it is an insured mortgage. You'll actually pay for an insurance, and that's a just in case, rainy day, and they'll cover you for, limited payments or what have. The insurable means that you have more than 20%, but your threshold is below the 1.5 million. So you typically will get a better or more favorable interest rate. And then the uninsurable means that you have more than 20%, but you're beyond the 1.5 million in value. So you don't typically have a favorable rate. So if you plan on putting 20% down, say on an investment property, you want to have a better interest rate for a lower payment, then you want to make sure you're within that $1.5 million threshold. Makes sense? Makes dollars too when things make sense. Okay, so now we have new mortgage rules that will help lower your monthly payment because you have an extended period of time, but it's going to increase your overall cost. And then we have lower mortgage rates going into 2025 on the variable side. What is this going to mean for Welland Real Estate values? So if we're going to see, like I mentioned before, half a point is going to equate to about 3 to 5%, we can see more than a half point interest rate cut coming down the pipeline. That could translate into as much as a 10% increase in home prices by that spring to early summer market. So as we get from March to say May or what have, I believe, and I could be wrong, and we might actually see a 10% increase in home values. And I'll be keeping you guys updated on this kind of stuff month to month. So it'll be interesting to compare afterwards. But I also believe by this time next year that we'll see about a 12% increase in price overall. People want to get ahead of increased prices, and right now the Niagara region has over 3,200 units to offer, and for the month of November, I'm seeing about 526 of those being sold. So by entering the market now, you have much more variety. You have a lot less competition. That may change soon. We don't know how fast that can change, but currently we have more variety, less competition in terms of the buying side. So what does that do? That allows for us to negotiate on the price. It allows for us to add clauses such as financing, insurance, inspection. If you need to sell your property before getting into another one, it's a sale of property clause that we can include in the offer. I have been able to get pretty good deals for people since October, which is really good. So if that's something that is of interest to you, maybe you might want to consider reaching out to me if no one has walked you through the process of buying a home. I'd love to be able to earn your business. I would love to be able to hear your situation as it stands today and also moving forward, because maybe now is not the right time for you. Maybe waiting and holding on until later could be better for you, but we don't know unless we have that conversation. So if you'd like, I left my contact details below. You're more than welcome to reach out to me. You can also check out more videos about Welland right over here. My name is Manny DeSilva from Remax Niagara, and thank you so very much for spending time with me. And if I don't hear from you, Merry Christmas. Take care.